Hello and welcome to the Reasons I'm Broke podcast, bringing you the reasons we're broke every single week, ranging from comics, movies, TV, video games, and more. I'm Daniel. Normally I have my other host, which is the great Emperor Kelli, who has to go off and do Emperor Kelli things, like raising a little Leonardo to take over the empire one day. But this is episode number 290. If this is your very first episode, it's going to be a little bit different than what you'll listen to next week or the week before. But basically, I'm up at C2E2, which is a huge comic convention, probably the third or fourth biggest in the nation, right behind San Diego Comic-Con and New York Comic-Con. Even WonderCon is coming up as one of the big contenders for some of the biggest comic conventions out there, but C2E2 focused completely, so expect some coverage on that in the next week or two. But I wanted to have an episode in the bag so that the Brokehead Core did have something the episode that I am gone in Chicago. I won't have my equipment with me, so I won't be able to do another episode with Kelli. I might try to do something with Mr. Riggs. But otherwise, thankfully, I have my inner circle of guys that I trust of, hey, can you be on the podcast? Would you like to be on it to cover this week? The other Justice League members, I guess, the other Brokehead Core members, where I can, count on them to not only give you guys good content, but to, be reliable enough to, let's go ahead and record something. One of the many reasons I don't do show crossovers from like just random people on Twitter is because there's been some bad experiences in the past. So I go with reliability. That's what Kelli and I trust on. And especially these two guests that are on today, very good friends of Kelli and I actually, and they have been on the podcast before. And today we have, helping out with the show, which is going to be more casual, we have Bobby, Mr. @CubanSlim. Say hi to the Brokehead Core.
Hello, Brokettes. This is Blue Lantern Broquette reporting for duty.
There we go. And Mr. Scott, straight from the Lazy Gaming Guys YouTube crew. How are you, sir?
Doing pretty good. We're going to call myself the Martian Manhunter of the group here.
So the guests really built up. I don't know if the Brokehead Core have noticed, like we had Ian Flynn, we had Ted Anderson, we had Dwight from Dwight's Comics, and it's like, holy shit, now we got Bobby and Scott on here. So they just keep on coming. You guys are getting different voices, different opinions for these past couple of episodes. As I mentioned earlier, this is going to be a looser format show. We are going to do a good chunk of 3 video game movies that would make for good live action films because a ton of you chimed in with some great reasons and some great video games that probably would make for some good films. But before we jump into what is probably the meat and potatoes of the episode, we're going to go real loose and briefly go on to either one of you guys, actually, since Scott, you do Lazy Gaming Guys. What exactly is Lazy Gaming Guys to anyone that is not familiar with your YouTube Let's Plays?
So we are primarily right now a streaming service, basically. There's 3 of us. 2 of us stream regularly. You'll catch one of the 2 of us on at least 2 times a week.
Mm-hmm.
We will be starting up a new thing in this summer to start covering anime. So we'll be starting up an anime podcast that'll still be on our Lazy Gaming Guys channel. And it will not detract from any of the streams or anything like that. It'll just be in addition to.
So anime from... is it?
So we'll be covering new series, whatever's new that season. We're picking 6 series right now from the new season. And we'll be covering every week the new episodes that come out. We'll be talking about them and seeing how they go along, how they develop throughout the season.
And strictly North American anime, or...?
So these will be new in Japan.
Yes, I got him to say it.
So,
there's an ongoing joke on their stream where Scott says Japan, like he says it real uniquely, where no one else has it quite like him. So I got one down. Perfect.
Apparently. But yeah, so look, we're looking forward to recording that. We're hoping you all will look forward to actually listening to it.
Yeah, and that's also on Twitter @Lazy Gaming Guys. There's going to be links to your channel on today's episode, so you can just swipe on over to the description. And Bobby, you yourself, we've known each other for several years already. And what's your experience in the world of comics and gaming, which is something that you especially have really been ramping up on with your personal life?
Yeah, comics. I've always been a comic reader. I've read for years. Thanks to your local comic book shop. Was roped back into comics back in 2007. So it started with World War Hulk, and I've been tied in ever since. So I've gone through some of the speed bumps over the past few years. As far as, the other culture within that area would be, the board games. I run a shop, and I'm around it all the time. I got board games, and then of course Pokemon. I work for Pokemon as well, so I do a lot of that stuff.
Do you ever wake up in the middle of the night and you're like, oh, there's just like this dice stuck somewhere in the crevices of your own self?
No. The problem is I have so many board games and freaking Pokemon cards. They're all over the place. My room is a mess. I have stacks of cards all over the place. I have boxes of cards. Board games I've just got coming out of my ears, literally.
Sounds more like a shrine to me than a mess.
It's a messy shrine. It's a shrine, but it's not very appealing.
The messiest of fun. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
So you had mentioned comic books, and that's something that you as well, Scott, have been getting into more recently. You've started picking up some books here or there. What are some of the things? Yeah, go ahead.
So I've been out of comics for quite a long time. I was into them a little bit when I was more my teenage, but recently I've decided to start getting back into them a lot. And I've been finding some really fun series. But I would also like to say that I can at least give you all more of a Marvel perspective as well here, because I've been reading some of the Marvel series. Like X-Men Gold, I actually have been really enjoying.
Yeah, the X-Men series, they have been building up, thankfully, and that's something that they were missing out on with their income portion of it with Marvel Comics, and I know they didn't want to support the franchises that they didn't own the film rights to, but the X-Men fans were probably, I think it's a larger fan base than Fantastic Four, and they were ignoring them, and they're obviously getting frustrated, and it's like they're not just going to move over to Spider-Man and start reading that. They still want X-Men.
They just lose sales, basically. I mean, you're just not catering to fans at that point, and all because you're wanting, and I understand wanting to support your cinematic universe, but at the same time, you also now run a comic industry here. Mm-hmm. You're also supposed to be supporting your comic book fans. So it's just a little, I don't know, it's a little dicey of a situation, but I'm happy to see that X-Men is coming out a lot. I haven't tried all of the different X-Men series that have been coming out. Because I know there's like blue, gold, red.
Yep.
Sounds like Pokemon, but it's not, guys. It's X-Men.
And I know
the Pokemon of the Marvel Universe.
I wish it would sell like the Pokemon of the Marvel Universe, because if every book sold like Darth Vader, which is probably what's keeping Marvel like truly afloat, that and Amazing Spider-Man right now, like I would be a happy camper. I want Marvel to do well, not just, maybe I don't read as much Marvel, but I want their fans to be happy, Some of them are turning to the independent side and independent books, but it's like fans still want to have the books and the characters that they fell in love with, even if they have expanded their horizon.
Exactly. Like, you'll never forget that, superhero you started with, or, that series that got you into comics. So it's like you want to see love for someone like X-Men or, Thor or Hulk or something like that, you really fell in love with the series. Even if you've moved on to DC Comics or indie comics, it's still nice to go be comforted by those familiar ones again.
And you, Bobby, you've been collecting Marvel Comics for many years now, as you mentioned, ever since, Planet Hulk kind of roped you right back into it. What is your perspective of Marvel's industry, at least? Because we know DC's kind of been up and down, and they're finally on the upswing after the last couple of years of the New 52. But you've been seeing Marvel kind of start to struggle for a longer period of time than what is comfortable to a lot of readers.
Yeah, and granted, I'm not, no offense to anybody, like I'm sure there's people listening to this that, are been reading Marvel since, the 50s, 60s, whenever. I'm sorry, Marvel came out in the 60s, 60s, 70s. Since it's been like, 11, 12 years for me that I've been reading Marvel constantly. And when I got back in with Planet Hulk, that was my draw, World War Hulk and Planet Hulk, the original one. By
Greg Pak.
Yeah, Greg Pak was the writer for that. I dove in hard. I mean, I was buying everything and everything I could get my hands on. And at the time, like I had a little more disposable income, so I was pouring it all into. I bought variants. Like I bought variants for everything. I have complete runs of variants for Secret Invasion and all that stuff. Like every single Dynamic Forces variant. I have everything. Civil War, I have all the variants. I have all my sketch Michael Turner variants.
Nice.
1 through 7, all graded by CGC. So, I mean, I went all out, and that's when things were good. And people are going to disagree. They're going to probably say, well, Secret Invasion was crap, and, Marvel was terrible at that time. That's fine. My opinion was it was great. That's what I was reading. Which is also unique is during that time, I didn't read any DC. I was opposed to DC, not because I hated it, but I was very unfamiliar with it. Growing up, I didn't really get exposed to too much DC. I knew who Superman was. I knew who Batman was. I own, just like everyone else does, a copy of The Death of Superman. I mean, who doesn't? Someone we know mutually has a philosophy on that, and I still have my copy. Ironically, I got my copy from the newsstands. It was at Eckerd's, actually. Eckerd Drugs. That's where I got that. I had some old Star Wars comics from Dark Horse, and I had some, I think Dark Horse did Transformers back in the day. I can't remember the company. So I have some of those. And just Marvel. That's all I read. And I got attached to Amazing Spider-Man. So I've made it a bucket list of mine where I'm going to collect every single the Amazing Spider-Man title that there is. Ironically, what is it? 800? No, 900 is about to come out.
800, yeah.
800.
800
yes.
is about to come.
800 is about to come out here really soon. Unfortunately, Dan Slott's ending his run there, but and I have maybe 35 issues that I'm missing total out of the 800.
No shit. So, holy crap.
I'm getting there slowly but surely. I have, for those that want details, below issue 50, I'm probably missing maybe 20. I'm approximating.
That's insane.
So majority of my issues are the low numbers. I'm missing some really high keys though. Like I'm missing 129, which is the first Punisher. I'm missing 121, which is Gwen Stacy's death, and 300, which is the Black Suit Spidey Venom. Mm-hmm. So those are the three important keys in the high numbers that I'm missing just because of cost. I regret not buying them a couple years ago when they were cheaper. They've gone up in price ridiculously now, and it's just not fair. So I'll wait on those. I'll find them one day for a good price. But yeah, back to Marvel. So it's always attracted me, and I've gravitated towards Amazing Spider-Man. It's been very, very consistent. That book, if anything, many changes they've gone through, it's been extremely consistent, which is nice. They do have a brain trust behind that character, kind of like what they have for Batman and some of the big characters in DC, where other writers always collaborate on what is being written so that it follows to the key what Peter Parker or AKA Spider-Man is supposed to be. Mm-hmm. As far as going through the years, I actually switched, and low 2000s, I can't remember exactly when, I started diving into DC, and I started with Batman. Actually, I know when it was. It was right when they killed Batman, when Darkseid killed him. Because I went back and I bought a lot of the back issues and got all the Death of the RIP Batman series, all the crossovers. Then I just read everything and read from there, and then went to the Return of Bruce Wayne at some point, and then the Batman and Robin, all that stuff. And it started branching out. I started going to Green Arrow and Aquaman and some of the other titles, Harley Quinn. Green Lantern, of course. The run with Jeff Johns was amazing. I have that entire run. I did complete that run, so I have everything for that. Some of it is signed. I have some of them signed by Jeff Johns and Ethan Van Sciver. Mm-hmm. So that's pretty cool. The Brightest Day, the Blackest Night series, I have all of that. I have the Brightest Day 0 and number 1 signed by almost all the collaborators on those issues, Jeff Johns being one of them. So over the years at MegaCon, I've been able to collect all the autographs. Mm-hmm. But over this time, I've been gradually dropping Marvel titles, and it's because the content's not there. I'm not liking the stuff that's there, and I don't know what they're obsessed with, this constant reboot and brand new, all new thing, and try this, it's fresh, it's new. I'll try the first issue, and I don't like it. It's just not there for me. So the only 2 books that I buy from Marvel right now are Amazing Spider-Man and Daredevil. And Daredevil has been very solid through all the different reboots that Marvel's had over the past few years, or reimaginings, whatever they want to call it.
I was going to say for Daredevil real quick, at my local shop, Daredevil, Doctor Strange, and Thanos are like the 3 titles that I'm like, how are these books outselling some of the more key Marvel characters now, like Invincible Iron Man? And it's like, it all comes down to the story, where apparently these 3 titles, including ASM also and Darth Vader, if you tell a good story, the sales will follow.
Yeah. Doctor Strange was good for a while. I was reading that for a while when it was Chris Bachalo and Tim Townsend. I was buying that for a while. And then I fell off of it when they changed the team just because I didn't care for the team. And Doctor Strange, I know, Daniel, you have your own thoughts about the movie, you and Kelly, but the movie was one that, for non-comic book readers, a lot of people liked and gravitated towards. So I have a feeling that movie alone brought people into Marvel books for Doctor Strange, because Doctor Strange didn't have his own book. And then when they put the movie out, they gave him his own book. He kind of wasn't around. He would show up every so often during an Avengers book. Some issues, he would just randomly show up whenever they needed help with mystic arts, because Stephen Strange lost his powers. He wasn't the the mystic arts master. It was Damon. Damon is the mystic arts master, and Doctor Strange depleted his power. He had no use, so he was just a dude. And when the movie came out, that's when they reinvented it and they brought him back, and he got his power. He was now the sorcerer of the dark mystic arts now. So I think that the movie success, and for the non-comic readers that are obsessed with the MCU and that movie, because let's be honest, it was successful. Well,
yeah, it made
probably brought some people in to read that book, and that's probably why it's popular, because it's one of those offshoot characters that are unique.
Yeah, I mean, his power set, his moves, his stories dealing with the more mystical and demonic and stuff like that are a little more out of the ordinary in comic books compared to, it's a god that they're fighting, or, just some superpowered person. It's a little bit more out there, which actually makes it a little more interesting, at least to someone like me.
What do you think of what they're... we may kind of disagree on this, and I want to hear your opinion as well, Scott, as someone who's kind of getting back into comics, so you'll probably have a completely different perspective on this whole thing. But with Marvel, what they did a month or two ago is they did kind of like the half-assed, half of these are still going to be legacy numbering, half of these are going to be all new number ones. And now with CB Cebulski behind the wheel, they fired Axel Alonso. It seems like he or someone up top went, no, we need to make these all number ones, which is what I said they should have fucking done, because instead it's like they're not committed to, okay, if you're going to do all new number ones, if you want people to jump right in, do it all the way, because instead you're still confusing some of the readers, because they're going, so the ones that aren't legacy numbering, are they a part of a different continuity? Is that a different thing? Or does these even count? And it's a mess the way it was done.
Yeah, the legacy numbering is neat. I liked it. I thought it was unique, but at the same time, I'm tired of it because they keep doing it. We had this a couple years ago, and they always do it whenever they hit a milestone issue, which is dumb. Just get over it. Make a good title and people will buy it. You go back to your original numbering, and all you're doing is messing with people's heads. I'm a constant reader, and I'm still confused on some of the numbering, because right when they did the transition, you had to figure out what the old number was and the current. So they did you a favor by putting both numbers on it, but it looked weird. And then after 1 or 2 issues, they got rid of the old number, and now the new number, and they went with the legacy number. So if you didn't catch on by then, you're lost. And then, I got to imagine, Dan, you probably deal with this all the time. These people come in and they're like, oh, wow, Moon Knight's 170 issues in. What did I miss? And then you got to have that whole conversation, which is good for you, because then you can introduce them to some of that, the trades and the older stuff, good selling points. But I would imagine how tiresome it is to explain that numbering system and how confusing it is probably at times.
Yeah, I do have to tell them, first I have to tell them what legacy numbering is, and kind of give them a breakdown of, well, technically, let's say, for example, I ran into it with Black Panther. A lot of people that saw the movie, wanted to pick up the latest Black Panther. They wanted to pick up the trades, the Funko Pops, the merch. And typically you don't see, and we just talked about it last week, you don't see these readers again, next month or the month after. Most of the time they don't stick around. They're now excited for Infinity War, and that's going to be their focus. Whatever the new thing is, that's what they're going to be buying. But until then, we sell everything, sell what you can. But I had to tell some of these people, okay, this is Black Panther number 17, and then it jumps into 280 something. I can't really remember what it was, but had to tell them this is actually number 14 and this is number 15. So even though it's a high number, this is what this actually is. And that's how I had to kind of paint it for them to kind of understand, okay, so this is actually issue 15, not 183 or 184.
See, the only thing I think that should keep legacy numbering is something like Spider-Man, The Amazing Spider-Man, now going on 800 in order to try and reach that 1,000 milestone, or something like Captain America, I think, is up in like the 700s as well.
Yeah, it just hit 700.
But something like, Moon Knight or Black Panther, it's like, you might as well just stick with the new numbering so that people, like for me as getting back into it, like it is kind of confusing when it's like, oh, well, where exactly do I start? And trying to find that starting point to go, okay, now I start from here. You feel like you're jumping in kind of late to the party when, all right, there's 150, issues. Well, do I have to read all 150? And then you find out, no, this is actually the first one of the reboot. Oh, okay. Like, why is 150 actually chapter 1 now, in the origin story? Like, it's kind of confusing in that aspect. I mean, once you know what it means, it's a very different story, but that's also implying that you know what it means, which means you either have to do research on your own, or you have to talk to people about it and have it kind of explained to you.
With the to be fair, like the OG numbering is cool. I think it's really neat. It looks nice on the books in the corner box. It looks great, and you look at it as a comic book reader, and it's like, wow, that's a long run. Or even a new person, like, wow, this book's been around a while. What the thing is that I have a problem with is it keeps flip flopping. That's the problem. If they just stick with the number and leave it be, it's fine. Like, look at Detective Comics and Batman. They've had that numbering going in the 900s for a while. I'm sorry, 800s for a while now, and that's fine. But their goal is to get to the milestone. Where I'm going to question that is that when they get to their milestone issue, if they flip flop it or they leave it the number, because they're doing that for Action Comics and for Detective Comics, and Action's about to hit their big number 1K, which is incredible. Again, are they going to flip flop it? I mean, they have no reason to. Their sales are through the roof, so hopefully they don't mess with it and they just leave the numbering as is. Although it's going to be a little weird seeing a 1010 issue of Action Comics.
Yeah.
I already have the answer for you. They are going to go back to Action Comics #1 after 1000, and I am against it because it's like it's already 1001. That is literally like it might as well be a number 1.
Basically,
it's a gimmick. They're just trying to push sales. We all know it. I just wish they would stop flip flopping. It's fine if they do it. Stick to something. That's my issue.
Yeah, and that's the whole thing. Like, I mean, I guess technically, yeah, if it remained consistent the entire time, it would make a little more sense, because then when you're looking through back issues, you'd be able to see, like, oh, okay, yeah, no, it's just a number, compared to looking through back issues, and it's like, no, this is number 10, but then it went to 200, and then before it was, 190, and you're going, okay, well, where's the connection here?
Yeah, absolutely.
Where does one series end, or one numbering system end, and when does the other one begin, compared to, all right, yeah, this is 199, 200, okay, I know that this goes right after this one.
And I'm hoping that this fresh start thing is their rebirth, Marvel rebirth. I hope it does well for them, and this is the direction that they need to go in. But time will tell. I think a lot of readers are going to jump in. I know I have a lot of subscribers that are saying, "Oh, Venom #1, sure, let me subscribe to that." And a lot of them don't care. They're just like, "Well, I still be subbed to that when it's a new #1. Make sure I am." So to them, they just want to keep reading, and it's not as thing. But for comic nerds like some of us, it's something that bothers us. It's like a weird thing in the back of our brain. It's like, well, just either stick to it or don't, or what does this mean, or do it all the way. So that's just, I think it's a collector mentality in all of us.
I have zero interest in Fresh Start. I may dip into Spider-Man just because it's the only book that I'm like pursuing, just to see, especially because the writing team's going to, or the whole team's going to change. And I'm forgetting his name, but he's coming from Invincible. I know he's a big name, but
Otley. I'm sorry, Otley, the artist.
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, no, the writer. Isn't the writer of Invincible coming over?
No, the artist is going to be doing the artwork for Spider-Man.
Okay. Regardless, that might be the only book that I look into. Other than that, I just don't care. The Avengers team was revealed as their first when they announced Fresh Start. I don't like it. Doctor Strange is a rotating member. Black Panther's actually on the team. Come on. Movie grab. Thanks.
Yep, it's a movie, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
And it's not going to reflect the movie. That's the worst part about it. So get on with it. I'm over it.
Well, this is their move of people were whining for years that the characters did not look like the classic counterparts. We didn't have Thor. We had Jane Foster, which was phenomenal. And that was an early change. So anyone that was blaming that as like one of the SJW changes, it's like, no, this was well before they started coming out with the rest of them. But when the characters did not look like their movie counterparts, and when they were ignoring a lot of the older characters and changing, for example, Wolverine got killed, and I'm sure that's a movie deal type of thing. Like, we don't own Wolverine, so we'll have something else and we'll change and weaken that brand. So now they had X-23 as the all-new Wolverine. So I think all of that was, people were sick of it. They didn't want it. They wanted the classic characters back. And Marvel went, okay, we're bringing back Thor. We've got Cap. It's no longer Falcon Cap. But we're also going to add in these movie properties like Doctor Strange, like Black Panther. To me, I'm not as upset about it because it is partially still like, okay, here's the characters you guys missed, and here's how they're going to look also on the big screen. It's like, yeah, you can't just have it one way. You know, the movie is going to leak in some form, but I think the biggest takeaway I have from this is it does still look like we're getting the characters that people were missing. We're getting the Hulk. He's coming back as Immortal Hulk. And was he in the Avengers promo shot? Is he going to be on that team?
I can't remember. I don't think he is.
I don't think so.
He's not. He's not really an Avenger. Yeah, She-Hulk's on there, not Incredible Hulk.
Gotcha. Okay, so I guess that's their way of also diversifying the team. They're putting a lot into it. It seems like it's coming in different directions, and I don't know. We'll see how it goes. I think this is, again, a response to, we want our characters back, and they're going, here you go. This is, everyone that you missed is back.
Yeah, they're going to be careful with Hulk because of Universal's rights, and he doesn't belong in the Avengers anyways. He needs a solo book. You can't control him, and if you put him on an Avengers team, he won't fit right. Like, that's not the right character.
Yeah, he's not as much of a team player.
So I hope that was plenty of comic talk. I know I've had some people on Twitter like, yeah, let's do more comics. And, we've been trying to give everyone more of a little bit of everything, whatever you guys respond on. So this was good. Like, we talked about the future of the comic industry. Now we're going into convention season this summer. A lot of local conventions, no matter where you are in North America or even throughout the world, this is that portion where you're getting that Facebook notification or you're seeing tweets. Hey, this convention's coming right around the corner. This event just got put up in your area. And now that we are going into con season, and for us it's going to be MegaCon, and then I'm going up to C2E2, do you guys have personal rituals to how you handle your convention experience? Do you have a laid out plan or some tips that you can give to people who are going to their very first convention, which is still happening at a huge rate? I hear all the time, this is going to be my very first con, and then I have to tell them, all right, this is what you need to do. What do you guys do to prepare for example, MegaCon?
Okay. I've been going to MegaCon for almost 20 years now. So that in itself is a ritual to me. I always go to MegaCon. I've seen it go through massive transformation. It's one of the larger cons now, recognized with some of the heavyweights, which is pretty cool considering it's in our backyard. Number one thing I recommend for someone that's going to go to a con, especially if it's a larger con, not just like some one-day gig at a hotel, but like a 2-day, 3-day, 4-day con.
A true convention.
Yeah, a big con. First of all, you need to mentally prepare yourself. You need to get proper sleep. You need to eat well and, bath, take a bath, bathe yourself, because there will be people around you that don't bathe. That's number one.
You will have that smell.
And I say to get sleep and eat well because it is gruesome. You're going to do a lot of walking. Mentally, you're going to get drained by the end of each day if you're going for multiple days. You are being exposed to all sorts of visual candy if that's your gig. Like if that's your thing, like going to a con and seeing all this geekdom, you're going to get mentally tired very quickly. Especially if you're taking kids, you taking your youngins with you, or going with a group of friends. Your friends will be dragging you in different directions. You'll have your own agenda, or maybe you won't. And then if you're with your kids, they're going to be dragging you in different directions. So what I suggest is look over the guest list well in advance, at least a week or more in advance, and check out exactly who's on the guest list that you are interested in seeing. If you happen to have it take advantage of a map of the facility and how it's going to be laid out, try to plan out where those places are so you're not scampering to find it while you're there, because it's going to be hard. The aisles are crowded. You're going to be surrounded by cosplayers that are taking up space, stopping to take pictures. It can get very irritating very quickly, especially if you're taking youngins and they're cosplaying. It's going to hold you up if you have plans and if you have places you want to go. This goes anywhere from booths that you want to go visit, or artists that you want to go see, and or writers, or if there's different, what are they called, panels that you want to be a part of, because those are at specific times. Mm-hmm. And sometimes those lines are camped. So depending on what con you're going to and what the guests are, you have to plan accordingly specifically for that. Most of your day will be taken up just getting in a line for a panel, if that's what you want. Like, what was it, 2 years ago here in Orlando, they had the Star Trek The Next Generation reunion. It was like a 25th anniversary reunion or something. So all the cast was here. Well, that panel, you can imagine, people were camping that panel line ever since the con opened the first day. Things like that you have to prepare for. If there's artists and writers that you're after, find out what times are available, where they're going to be. They might only be available in the Hero Initiative booth, for example. They might not have their own booth. If they're there on behalf of DC and or Marvel, they'll be in that block area, and they might have specific times because they have other obligations throughout the con. So again, check that schedule to see when they're available, because those lines alone will be ridiculous. Like, let's say you're going to go see Capullo and Scott Snyder. Those lines are long, and they're not there the whole time. And sometimes they are. It just depends on what's going on for each day. So definitely take a look at the schedule, plan out where your interests are, especially if it's merch. If it's merch, I can tell you right now that you can put that last on your priority list because it'll be there all weekend. The people that you want to go after, if you're after, some of the rock stars in the comic book industry, you want to take a look at those first. And then, of course, your media guests. If you're after the media guests, those are big draws. And the lines for those, people travel from out of town to go see that stuff. They'll wait for hours. They'll spend amazing amount of money just to get their autograph and pay all the extra fees to get a voicemail recorded or take a picture and get the selfie and all that stuff. So it's definitely an experience. I can tell you right now, it can be a lot of fun. Please save money because it can get very expensive very quickly. Being as I've gone to just MegaCon exclusively for the past almost 20 years, I've seen prices go up insane amounts just to get autographs. I mean, back in the day, I got Sean Astin. For those of you that don't know who he was Gamgee in Lord of the Rings, and he's in Stranger Things season 2. Rudy, if you've seen that movie, I paid $20 to get. He gave me the 8x10 and signed it, and I got a picture with him, and it was $20. If you were to replicate that now, which I actually think he's at MegaCon this year, I guarantee you that same experience, if you were to do it this year, is about $100. So it's no joke. Like, money is a thing. Like, and some of the comic book artists are charging now too, and writers, because these asswads come in there with a truckload of freaking books. Daniel and Kelli were talking about it a few weeks ago, where they got the little cart, the little trolley coming in with all the books in it, and they drop it all on the table, and you see the frown on the artist's face. And it sucks because you got a long line and you're sitting there waiting. So, I mean, Amanda and Jimmy have gone to the philosophy where they charge you now, which I'm totally okay with. It knocks some of those guys out of the way that are, either reselling things or just don't know how to respect anybody that's in line, or even the artist and or writer.
And that's one of the things I've seen on Twitter is a lot of writers are like, look, I can't make my money from just selling the trades or selling prints at my table. Like an artist, they knock out 4 or 5 commissions that weekend, depending on how big they are, like someone like Adam Hughes or Bruce Timm at San Diego Comic-Con, and they bank, right? But it's like, I forgot who it was. It might have been Tom King, one of the other writers. He's like, no one is paying me to write up like a little page and commission me a page, and then I'll charge you $200-$300 for it. I just sign, and I can't make money off of that. So, yeah, I think to your point, like, you can't really get upset at these writers for charging for signatures, especially when they are attracting those eBay, sellers that are just going to turn around and make $100 off of your signature.
Well, and they also don't charge that much. I mean, most of these are, like, writers and stuff are only charging $10-$20 versus some of the celebrities they're charging $60-$70.
Yeah, but you got to take that in moderation. Like, a perfect example, he just said, You said Adam Hughes. Well, I'm going to go with Neil Adams. That guy, I'm sorry. No offense to anyone. That guy's a jerk.
He is.
And not only that, he charges way too much. Like, he sits there cocky in his chair and, like, you touch stuff and he's like, they're all over you. Like, and it's like, okay, I just want to look at it. And they're telling you how much it is. And then they go the whole spiel. Well, he'll sign that. And if you buy this, he'll sign another one. It's like, well, I have 3 books. Okay, well, you have to either pay $30 per book or you buy 2 of these and we'll sign 2 and you get 1 free. I just walk away. Like, I don't even look at his booth anymore. I know he's like one of the godfathers when it comes to the Trinity. Great, good for him. And his artwork's good. I'm not going to knock it. But the guy's a prick, and I'm not about that. I'm about a couple bucks for over a couple of books. Sure, I'm in. You worked for it. I like your work, and here's me fanning out on your stuff. That's great. But and like what you said, Daniel, is some of those guys, they don't get paid anything. I mean, the con's paying them pretty well, but you're right. Like, they should get a little more, but there's a balance they probably have to strike, and I'm sure they're struggling with that all the time. Like, how many people are not going to come see them, or even turn around like me and think that they're a prick because they're charging $1 or $2? But yeah. Neil Adams goes over the board. I'm sorry, that's way too much. The other one is that Arthur Sudum idiot that takes over space in people's cons now. He's a prick too. He's been doing that for years.
But no, another piece of advice I would be able to give people is shop around at these conventions. Like, if it is your first convention, you're probably going to see this big, giant comic book shop or this big store, and you're just going to see what you want immediately, and you're going to be tempted to immediately purchase it. Believe me, there is about 30 other people selling that exact same item for different prices.
And here's a tip. Yeah, if you play your cards right,
impulse buy.
If you play your cards right and you're there through the end of the weekend and you like to gamble, you keep an eye on that stuff. And you go back on Sunday afternoon or whatever day the con ends, Monday afternoon, and they'll be fire selling that stuff because they don't want to take it back.
Absolutely. Yeah, but they don't want to ship it back. They don't want to pack it back up. But you also have to make sure that, you're keeping an eye on, okay, well, is this the last one they have? If so, they're probably not going to, it's probably going to sell.
Yeah, it gives you barter room too. Like, you can drop the price down on them. Like, you literally give them a $20 bill. It's like, oh man, this is all I have. And usually they'll just give it to you for that.
And the same goes with back issues,
also, you can also bargain by purchasing in bulk. That's another thing. Typically, most of these people, if you buy multiples of things or buy a bulk item, they will give you a better deal on the whole.
Another tip, make a list. If you're after comic books, this is a really good place to find some back issues or some key variants or even some graded books if you buy books that are already graded. Make a list, whether it's on paper or on your phone. However, be careful with your phone because some cons you go to, there is terrible phone service. So beware of that. Always have a hard copy available so that you can reference it. You're going to be referencing a lot if you're after books. It's going to be a treasure hunt, which is one of the unique experiences of being at a con. And you might find some of the things that you can't find at your local comic book shop or nearby shops that you visited. You're going to find gems in the rough. You're going to find things that are overlooked. You're going to find things that are hard to find, and vendors have them. Now, granted, some of that stuff will be a little bit pricey, and that's where Scott had a perfect tip. Shop around. Don't buy everything at the first booth you see. Take notes on what things you see that you need, and then start comparing at other places. You will see fluctuation in prices from vendor to vendor. Some vendors will make you better deals on others. But definitely bring a list of books that you're after. Bring your list. That is super important. I mean, celebrities are one thing, or even, comic book artists that you're going to do. But having a list of books that you're after, instead of trying to go from your mind, you're going to end up buying books that you already have, and you're going to buy books that you thought you needed and you don't.
Yep, which is exactly what happened to me in my first convention. I ended up with duplicates of stuff, and I'm like, instead of actually spending my money on something that would have been helpful to a collection, you end up with crap you didn't need. It's very overwhelming on your first convention. Also, budget. Know how much you're going to spend before you get there. And honestly, what I end up doing is I budget per day. So that way I know once I'm out for that day, I am done.
I do the same thing.
I think the one thing I would say is prioritize what you definitely want out of this convention. What is the one guest? What is the one piece of merch? Whatever it is. And go for that first, because if you try to hit up all the panels, hit up all the artists, and that's your idea of a successful con, you're going to be disappointed. You're never going to do everything that you set out to do. You're never going to see every celebrity or get every signature, because people cancel. People aren't at their tables when they say they're supposed to. Things sell out. So it's always good to just prioritize. Okay, if I didn't get thing number 1 done, let me get thing number 2 finished right now, and then go for that. Because at that point, I've had that feeling. And, whether it's a CGC, a book, or get this commission in and make sure they get it done by the end of the weekend, you get that perfect, okay, that sigh of relief afterward of, okay, I got that finished. I got my Adam Hughes sketch. All right, let me go do the rest of the stuff. It's like you got the holy grail of your convention finished and knocked out. And instead of stressing out about, okay, I need to do this and this and this and this and this and this, or otherwise I'm going to be unhappy, it's like prioritize what you want the most, get it finished, and you'll be much more happier with your convention.
Yeah. Right. And you do that day 1 and then enjoy relax and enjoy the rest of the convention.
And to anybody after a commission works, some of those artists typically don't do them, or they'll have a very limited number that they'll do because they don't want to stay up all night doing them. So you have to hit that artist up literally as the hall opens and get to their table. That's why you need to know where they're at, and if they're not at their table, then it becomes another chore for your weekend, because now, or your day, if you're there for one day, you have to get them when they get there, because as soon as they get their commissions lined up for the day or for the weekend, that's it. They won't do anymore. Some are kind, and they will offer to mail it to you. Those are awesome. Mm-hmm. But for me personally, I think it detracts from the experience a little bit, because, yeah, they might not have been in front of you drawing it, but you know that they drew this for you that day, this weekend when you were there. And for me, that's part of that experience. But if you have the option to mail order, that's awesome too. Some of those artists will do that for you.
Also, Twitter is your best friend. Contact these artists ahead of time on Twitter and say, hey, are you building a pre-con list, or is it just whoever's first come, first served? Find out, educate yourself as much as possible, especially if they're much bigger artists. You definitely want to contact them ahead of time and say, hey, do you have a list? Are you going to be doing commissions? And if they're not, then you can move on to the next artist that you would have liked.
Yep. Yeah. Some will take pre-orders, and if they do, they might be able to do it before they get to the con, and you get it delivered while you're there, which is amazing too. So there's some options.
So tons to help you out with the convention season, Brocat Core, whether you're a veteran and you never thought of I didn't even think about doing that, or this is your first experience. The last thing, definitely wear comfortable shoes. But before we go into 3 video games that would make for a great film, because Brocat Core came through and they gave us a ton of suggestions, I do want to knock out our Patreon shout-outs of the week. First shout out goes out to Neil on Twitter at @nmat68. He recently ran a St. Patrick's Day 5K. A selfie of that is on his Instagram. Have either of you ever ran an anything K?
No. But I know you are. I know you're getting ready to. Yours is coming up soon, right?
Did we go back to 2016? Am I back in time here? Did that go?
You're supposed to do the one of those princess marathons, right?
No, I don't think so. And Kelly's not here to verify, so must be fake news.
Marathon or...
No.
Next Patreon shout out goes out to John on Twitter at John72Tex. He also posted up a picture on Instagram. His Instagram is at Johnny2Chips. His wife put up word balloons next to his Star Wars figurine display. She just had some fun with it. And you know how we all display our statues, our toys, our figurines, our hot toys. And then she ended up doing this piece of paper with a bunch of word balloons and taped it in between 2 stormtroopers, I believe, and just had them have a conversation. I guess he came across it and found it. And he's like, my wife likes to have fun with my collection.
That's awesome.
Also, Brian on Twitter, @BrianShop1. He backed me up on Twitter when Maceo said I was beating a dead horse with my Joey Whedon rants. So much respect, Brian. Much appreciated. And he was also part of the poll that said, yeah, just do what you want, man. It's your show. And
finally, Julian thought you were beating a dead horse, too.
Did he? Did he vote?
Yeah.
Okay, because I wanted names.
Lazy Gaming Guys only gets 1 vote, and I was the one that voted.
All right. And final Patreon shout out goes out to Christian on Twitter at @RocketMan_131. He retweeted the latest Incredibles promo poster featuring the heroes on vacation. Are you guys Incredibles fans?
Yes.
Absolutely. And they just announced that Lego Incredibles game, too, coming out.
Yes, they did.
So what am I fucking missing on Incredibles? Because I have a family unit now. Like, I've got little AC and I've got Leonardo, and I didn't really enjoy Incredibles that much.
It's a family superhero movie. It's cool.
Yeah,
it's like the Bat Family, but Disney-fied.
It was kind of just poking fun at the superhero genre, basically, especially at the time. Yeah, and just kind of making a family-friendly comedy.
And it kind of took after the Fantastic Four because all their abilities are what the Fantastic Four has.
So, based on what Scott said, it's just family fun. It's a comedy. Was this the MCU of Pixar before the MCU was a thing?
Yes.
So this is why I don't like it.
Probably.
Yeah. But you need to watch Incredibles 2, though, still.
Do I?
Because you might get more of that. So now you have a family and everything else. You might understand it better.
I might give it a shot. I know I missed out on The Good Dinosaur. I haven't seen every single Pixar movie.
That was so horrible.
I didn't watch Inside Out. That was another one.
That was okay.
Inside Out was good. You didn't. Wait a minute. You did see that.
When did I see that one?
I let you borrow it.
Oh, you're right. I did. You're right. I did. Yep. I completely forgot about that one.
So at least we know you don't care for it.
You just borrowed it for a little days and gave it back.
No, I did watch it. It was. I guess it was just very forgettable. I remember the unicorn thing, the elephant that disappeared, and that was representative of her childhood, and it was all about her father and daughter relationship and her going through, I guess, what is growing up or puberty or whatever that message was. It was, yeah, I probably won't see it again. You're right, though. I'm a liar. I did see it. Huge thanks again to Neil, John, Brian, and Christian for your support on Patreon. If you would like your shout out every single month, head on over to patreon.com/thereasonsimbroke. For as little as $1 a month, that equals out to 25 cents an episode. You too can get your shout out and we'll talk about you a little bit. We kind of stalk your Twitter and Instagram and talk about it on the show here. So that's a nice little perk. And a huge thanks to also decalavenue.com for the $5 reward tier and helping us out with the decals. So with the thank yous out of the way, we'll do our 3 video games that should make for good live action movies. Our personal opinions at the very end of it, but let's break down the Brocat core and what they had to say and kind of hear what you guys think and if they're good choices or how it should be made. I know it says live action, but some of these I feel like could be better as animated movies. Ben on Facebook gave us our first one. California Games, a ragtag team of stoners seek sporting glory through competitive frisbee, roller skating, and footbag. Pitfall, man, most likely The Rock, has to rescue his daughter from a gang of thieves in a jungle full of perils such as death traps, alligators, and swingy ropes. And finally, Spy Hunter. He drives a car that becomes a boat. 007 hijinks across the road and waterways of the world. Which of these 3 would you personally endorse as a video game movie?
Pitfall. Absolutely.
Is it because of The Rock?
Yes. That's literally the only reason.
Yeah. He was just in Jumanji. Why not make it a sequel and it's Pitfall?
Exactly. I mean, Jumanji was already a game in that one. So, boom. Jumanji really was just Pitfall in disguise.
Although I could see George, man, I can't say his name. Joseph Levitt, that guy, as the main character for Pitfall.
Joseph Gordon-Levitt, Robin?
Yeah, him. Yeah.
I think Rock you can put him in any video game movie, and people are like, "Yep, that's great. He can be Tomb Raider. Done."
He could be Link.
Yeah,
it'd be perfect.
The Rock as Link would be the best Legend of Zelda movie ever.
He's like the chameleon of movies. You can just put him in any role, and people are happy with it.
The Rock as Ash Ketchum.
Yes.
Oh, he could be sexy. He could be Sexy Machamp.
Oh yeah, that's true too. We just follow Machamp around.
Yeah.
You got Detective Pikachu. Why not? Why don't we get a line of games, Sexy Machamp? You just win muscle contests, and you solve a mystery, so you can cross over with Detective Pikachu as well, and then you make a movie out of all that. There's your fucking plot.
The game that I think you had a question about was California Games. That game was, I believe, on the NES, I think, and it was all the different. It had surfing, skateboarding, and I can't remember. I don't think frisbee was on there. There was some other sports that were considered extreme at the time compared to now. Obviously, it's much different, and you would play all those games.
So it was like sports or something at the time.
Yeah, it was the popular off-culture sports at the time, which surfing and skateboarding were the main two. Man, I can't remember any of the characters in it, but yeah, that's what that refers to.
All right, well, now I know. So like the Wii Sports, as Scott said, of the NES era. The next Brokehead core member, I think we all agree, yes, The Rock, definitely do it, Pitfall. On Facebook, Isabella said, The Legend of Zelda, self-explanatory, but only if directed by Peter Jackson or someone else that wouldn't fuck it up like they did Resident Evil. Resident Evil Biohazard, but by people who know what they're doing. Would just be an awesome horror film. And finally, Grand Theft Auto 5, because that is the shit and would be a really fun movie.
Well, I would go with Resident Evil Biohazard if it was directed by Guillermo del Toro.
Oh, that would be so good.
I think it would be right in his wheelhouse, and I think that it would be amazing.
I'm done with Resident Evil. We got a whole franchise out of it, and what is it, Paul S. Anderson or W. Anderson? One of them messed it up. And I think now with The Walking Dead and all this zombie obsession, I just don't care.
Yeah, but they're not really zombies in the newest one.
What's that?
They're not really zombies in the newer game, though, in Resident Evil 7.
Yeah, but it's the same genre.
Creatures.
I feel like it's been around long enough, at least for me. This is my personal opinion. I'm done with it. Like, I don't want any more of it. Like, I don't even care for the games anymore. I stopped caring at Resident Evil 5, I think. I played that one through, and I loved it. And before that, 4 was amazing. But
yeah,
like 6 and 7, I haven't even touched. I own them, and I haven't even opened them. They're still in the plastic. Like, I watched The Walking Dead, and I have all the trades for Walking Dead. I watch The Walking Dead regularly, and it's going downhill. It's going to end soon, obviously, but I'm just over it. I think the whole zombie thing is on the verge of the end of the decline, and if you bring out a Resident Evil movie that even remotely touches anywhere near that genre, it's not going to have the popularity that it probably should have, to be fair.
Yeah, I can see your point.
Kelly just texted me, and because it does relate to Resident Evil and the horror genre, she said Dead Space.
Oh, that'd be good. Although some of those thrillers are hard to make because we get so many of them, they're low budget, and it's like, could they pull it off, I guess?
It would have to be heavy on CGI, especially with the transformations of the humans into like the scary, horrific monsters that you end up fighting in the game.
Yeah, and I think it'd be cool to pick up old broken tools and use it as weapons. That'd be pretty neat to see, the rationing of supplies.
Yeah, that would be a pretty cool movie. I think if done well, it would be pretty interesting.
What was the third option? I forgot what the third option was.
Oh, Grand Theft Auto 5?
Nah, no, I don't want that. We got Fast and the Furious and all these other movies. Like, yeah, it might make money because of the name, but I don't think it would be any good.
So put Vin Diesel and The Rock in GTA 5, and you've got it.
There you go. That would work then.
The Legend of...
No. We can throw The Rock as Link and Vin Diesel as Navi and just have The Legend.
That is one thing that I'm shocked we haven't seen. Like, I saw the whole list, and I'm surprised every list didn't have The Legend of Zelda on it. But that's the one movie that I still don't understand why gamers want to see. And I love Zelda. It's a fantastic video game. I never could really understand how it would make for a great movie. Maybe, you can argue that you can split it into 3, as she said, with Peter Jackson, split it up into a trilogy or something. But I always felt like Zelda would never really make for a good movie because you are Link, or Zelda. Zelda's the boy. You are Zelda. And that's who you control. So whoever they put in that role, and as soon as he starts talking and everything, you're immediately going to have a disconnect with that character and with the franchise and what they're trying to do on the big screen.
But see, maybe you just make the entire movie where he doesn't speak.
That would not. I don't think that would work. I don't know.
Through other people.
It would be easy to ruin, and I think that's why they haven't done a movie or even, tried to mess with it, because there's so much at risk, and it's too easy to mess up. Yeah, they have a lot of source material to choose from. It's probably very easy to come up with a story, but how do you translate that to screen? That's the problem. And a lot of that has
know.
to do with the identification of the character, the main character.
I'd be very interested to see a movie where the main character never speaks. Dialogue is all just either done visually by showing things or through other characters. Like, I think that would be whether it turned out good or bad, I would have to commend them on at least trying and going that extra mile.
Yeah, maybe we'll see it one day. I don't know. I feel like we'd see an anime or an animated movie first before we ever saw a live action Legend of Zelda, but crazier things have happened. The next response comes from Kyle on Facebook. He said, I'm sure they'd cock it up, but I've always wanted a Metroid movie. If they could resist the urge to include unnecessary characters and make it weird, scary, and about isolation on an alien planet, it'd be great. Make it like Gravity, if Sandra Bullock had to fight Mother Brain.
See, that's another one that I think would be tough to pull off.
Well, that and whoever you get's basically just going to be in the suit the entire time.
You don't think they'd find an excuse to do like a Zero Suit Samus 10 minutes into the movie?
Oh, absolutely they would.
They'd find an excuse for it, but it would just feel, I don't know, out of place. Like, you'd know that they were just finding an excuse for it.
What if they do it like Iron Man, where when she's in the suit, you cut into like her visor, and it's kind of like, Iron Man kind of looking around and controlling, and you can kind of see.
Do something like that.
And then the rest of it
they'd have to make sure also whatever planet she's on blows up at the end. Because Samus can't leave a planet without blowing it up.
Nope.
How about this? Here's a better idea. Scrap the ideas for Dead Space and for, no offense, Kelly, scrap the ideas for Dead Space and Metroid, and let's just get a new Alien series that's awesome.
Oh, yes.
And make it amazing without the Disney touch, because we all know about that. But let's just make it good.
I still want that Aliens 3 that Sigourney Weaver was signed on for a while until what's-his-name decided, no, I want to make Alien movies again, so fuck that. Where they were ignoring Alien 3 through, I think Resurrection was the last one, and they were just going to make a sequel to Aliens where Newt was still alive, and Sigourney Weaver, many years later, has to fight the aliens again. And they were ready to go and fire off on this thing until... once again, he wanted to do Prometheus and the latest one, which is Covenant. So it kind of threw that out the window, but that's what I want to see.
We shall see.
Next response also comes from Matt on Facebook. He said, all three have pretty linear storylines, easily adaptable to a film format. Halo is a sci-fi epic that would make any fan of Cameron Aliens film happy. Arkham Asylum because it's the best Batman movie that hasn't been made. And Legend of Zelda because it'd be fun, lighthearted, swashbuckling hero's journey that wouldn't take it as seriously as Lord of the Rings or Game of Thrones.
Has anybody here seen Doom?
No.
I saw Doom when I was cleaning the theater. Like, I used to work there and I saw like the last 10 minutes of it because you'd kind of stand there and wait for everyone to clear out. So I know what scene you're talking about, like the first-person shooter bit.
So that's what your Halo movie would be like. And yeah, Halo is awesome. Awesome story. But when you transfer that type of game to screen, that's what's going to happen.
Let's see, you've also had like,
and The Rock was in it. The Rock was in it, and it still bombed.
Yeah, because Halo's tried with animated movies, and they've been mild successes, basically. Like nothing a major that people still remember. They're just like, oh yeah, that existed.
Yeah, I think Halo is one that should be abandoned as far as trying to make movies from it.
I agree.
Yeah.
Arkham Asylum.
That would be great, but honestly, the game pretty much is the movie. Like, you're not really going to beat the game experience in that one. It's cinematic enough to be a film that you're playing as well.
Plus, if we get that, don't we often complain about games and the overload of characters and or villains? That's what Arkham Asylum is, and they'd have to spread that out and give all these characters screen time. Well, if Mr. Freeze shows up for 10 minutes and we don't see him again, well, all the Freeze fans are pissed. Like, well, we couldn't get any more of him. How do you explore their origins? What do you tell? Who do you include? Well, yeah, they can make it a series of different movies, but I mean, that's going to take forever.
That would just kind of ruin the pacing and everything else versus the game, because you'd have to condense a 12-hour game basically into an hour and a half movie, maybe 2-hour movie. The game will always be better at that point.
I think we're coming into this theme of a lot of these video games are almost an impossible project where you can't do it to they only work as, I think a lot of these only work as video games and as we've said before, probably won't work as films. But I don't know, maybe we'll come across one here that we can all agree on, maybe 2 or 3 that we can say, yeah, you know what, that could work. Jason on Facebook said, Mortal Kombat is well deserving of a reboot. I agree. The first season of Legacy proves that, if given to the right people, a quality product can be made. There are so many possibilities in terms of story because MK has been around for so long, and there's still a strong fan base.
I agree.
Yeah, I mean, I could
Legacy was good.
Well, and you got to figure it's something that doesn't have to be condensed, really. Like, you can tell a Mortal Kombat story in a 2-hour movie and have it be a pretty awesome martial arts movie.
I think that's the important part of, you just got to have kick-ass martial arts. There is a crowd for that out there, and I think that's one of the biggest criticisms of recently Iron Fist on Netflix is people wanted to see some old school kung fu, and it looked a little too choreographed. And I think if you can do that with Mortal Kombat, you can take an episode of Legacy even and expand that and put story into it. And I think people would be happy. You give me a Mortal Kombat movie where Sub-Zero is the protagonist, him alone has enough story to fill a movie.
Heck
yeah, absolutely.
And Legacy was low budget. So if you take Legacy and expand upon it without the low budget, you've got something amazing.
Nicholas on Facebook said, God of War, it's the only game I really played ever that I can see becoming a series. The game marks are amazing and could really be translated well. I can't imagine who I'd cast as Kratos, though. Obviously, we know the answer.
The Rock.
The Rock.
But, see, that one, though, like, I would say that, yeah, as a series, it would probably be okay. But that's another one where, like, it's so cinematic and everything else, you'd be cramming in so much information in 2 hours. Even a 3-hour movie would be cramming in so much information.
So you'd rather see God of War as like a television, maybe an HBO production type of thing?
Yeah, like if it was an HBO type of series, like Game of Thrones or something like that, like I could definitely see that working well for God of War.
Yeah, probably. I don't think it would do good in a movie theater because there's a lot of ground to cover. So even if you spent the first movie just going over Origin, like that wouldn't do too well. I think it'd be a little boring. The story is great, but you're talking about, instead of a first-person shooter, you're talking about a hack and slash. So what is he going to do? Spend, in a 2-hour movie, he's going to spend 45 minutes running around killing people with an axe? I mean, so
yeah,
you got to – I have a feeling the story is not going to translate to screen in a dramatic way where people would want to watch it, besides the people that know God of War and like God of War. That's the thing. You got to cater to the people that don't know what it is.
Exactly.
How do you do that? How do you do that?
You got to cater to the masses, not the fans.
We got a response here from Discord user at Spoon Sandwich, who is actually another Patreon backer. He said Legend of Zelda because there are so many great storylines to use, Mass Effect pretty much the same, and Halo because they keep promising. Mass Effect, that's a new one right there.
We've already got that. It's called Star Wars.
Yeah, I mean, Mass Effect would have to be a trilogy. Period.
Mm-hmm.
And even then, I don't know if you could fit all of the information from each Mass Effect.
How would that change, given when you play Mass Effect, your experience is catered to your choices that you make? It's a choose your own adventure. When you put that in movie form, how does that translate? Because now you're not choosing your path. It's being defined for you.
Oh, yeah, you're not choosing your backstory. You're not choosing your...
who you want to have a relationship with.
Yeah, what type of abilities you have, whether they're a commando, scout, something like that. You're also not choosing at certain key points. Well, do you save the senators or something like that, or let them blow up? Like, do you go rogue? Do you go, neutral? Would they go Paragon? It's a matter of, there's a lot of choices that the fans would make playing the game, but not necessarily work as no, we're going to tell you this is how you should have played.
Well, I think with Mass Effect, it goes back to appealing to the masses. Just choose the rogue or Paragon option, whatever, that is going to appeal to most people. And I think they can do it. If you choose the soldier class, that's pretty self-explanatory. Most people can get it. I'm definitely with you, Scott. It would definitely have to be like a trilogy, not even just Mass Effect 1, 2, and 3. Mass Effect 1 itself could be a trilogy on its own. All of these different missions you go on could be the climax of the movie. It could make for, every mission is so epic, and I love it. So I almost do think that it could work in that way. I'm not as stuck on the choices.
Investment.
Plus, seeing all of the different aliens on the big screen, like the Krogans, that would be fantastic even as prosthetics, and you just have like the robotic eyes and the mouth. Man, I guess I just want more Mass Effect. That's what it really comes down to. William Paul on Discord, and this is our final one, also went with Mass Effect. He said, Mass Effect has a lot of potential stories to use, as Spoon Sandwich said. Personally, I'd love to see a movie going over humanity finding their first Mass Effect relay on Mars and first contact with alien races. And Bastion, I've played but never finished the game, but the way the narrator interacted with the kid, I'm just curious to see how filmmakers would interpret it. And finally, Elder Scrolls. The setting is just so rich, I want to see what can be done with it.
I mean, Elder Scrolls, yeah, you could do a Lord of the Rings style for that, and I think it would work out pretty well. I mean, Skyrim or something like that isn't really huge if you're not doing a lot of the side quests and everything else, which they wouldn't have to include in the movie. They could just include nods too. You're talking, yeah, I could see that in a Lord of the Rings size 3-hour movie.
What about you, Bobby? Do you see any of these working?
I mean, Mass Effect is Mass Effect. We just talked about it, but not to say that it would be terrible. I think it'd be a great story. It's just a fact of, can it translate to screen? Elder Scrolls, unfortunately, it just, like Scott just said it, the first thing you come to mind is Lord of the Rings. Well, if you're going to put a franchise out there and you're thinking of a different franchise, then there's a problem. Like, you want something that's unique, something that can stand alone on its own, and that comes from a marketing standpoint and, again, grabbing people that don't know what the Elder Scrolls are. Like, to be fair, most of the hardcore gamers are going to know what the Elder Scrolls are. It doesn't cater to the masses.
Yeah, and I've never played Bastion. I think what I do think is interesting is the Mass Effect bit, and I don't know if it's been told before. I don't think it has been. I never remember playing it in the games, but going through the story of the very first Mass Effect relay, didn't even fucking think of that. Why does it have to be based on something we already saw in the game? Why don't they tell an original story that does take place in the same universe? It's like that. That's kind of a way to go around it.
Yeah, because I know they made an animated movie that told an original story
for Mass Effect.
Yeah.
Okay.
There was a Mass Effect animated movie. So I know it can be done animated wise. So I could see that going for, into live action, because then they wouldn't have to try and fit any certain amount of anything in there.
So we've been praising these movies. We've been shooting down some of these ideas. So let's turn it around on us. And let's start with Bobby. What 1 or 3 video games that you think would make for good live action films?
Kingdom Hearts.
Absolutely.
That movie would be great. I think Disney would get their hands on that thing and do miracles.
Was it based on any particular game?
I was obsessed with Kingdom Hearts 1. I mean, 2 was great, but part 1 was just awesome.
You could totally do Kingdom Hearts 1 in a 2-hour movie. Easily.
From a marketing standpoint, like, it's endless printing of money, because if Disney makes the movie, which they would be the ones to do it, Square Enix is getting behind some movies now. They just put out their Tomb Raider, which, by the way, side note, I did see it, and it's actually pretty good. You put the 2 franchises together like they did in the game, and you're going to attract all this different attention that doesn't know what Kingdom Hearts is, just from the Disney characters. I mean, it'd be the Avengers of the Disney universe, because you'd put all these different characters from these different worlds that are in the game and make a unique story. They don't even have to follow the game. I don't care. Make up something for the movie that incorporates, where they visit, Ariel, and you see King Triton, and you get the Flounder and Sebastian, and then they go off into the other world where Simba is fighting against Scar, different, they just keep bouncing around to different worlds. And then you incorporate the Final Fantasy lore. It's like, wow, that'd be pretty powerful. You gain your fans automatically that know what it is, but just imagine the potential with the people that don't know what it is to just come to see this colossal gathering of Disney characters. I mean, I think it'd be pretty cool.
Do you think there would be a pacing issue with them bouncing around from world to world and kind of defeating bosses in each one?
You would think, but
I don't think they would play it like a game.
Yeah, they actually fit it all into a manga series that was only 4 very small issues long, and actually retold the entire story while being actually a very good retelling of the entire story So if they can do it into 4 very thin mangas, I would figure that they could easily make it into a movie, and not have pacing issues.
All they need to do is get the core, Sora, Goofy, and Donald, get them together, explain how they come together and why they're together. That's what, 20 minutes? And then after they do that, they venture off. And that's where, they land in Traverse Town, and then you introduce your Final Fantasy characters, give them, their little backgrounds, that's fine. And then go around to the different worlds, and they're not specifically fighting bosses, but more of recruiting the Disney heroes for the ultimate fight, to fight Ansem at the end. Or let's say they don't choose Ansem, they choose someone else. And the power of the Heartless. And they encounter little battles on the way to get to whoever it is. Or let's say there is a boss battle. They go to Lion King, and there's already a battle going on. It's between Simba and Scar. And you just jump in, you help. And then Simba's like, you help defeat Scar. And Simba's like, oh, why are you here? Here, come join us on this adventure, blah, blah, blah. You go to the next planet or area. I think there'd be a way to do that where they don't have to spend time on each place to confuse people, but it's a more of recruiting. And then maybe some come to them, like, heck, what if the Incredibles just show up out of a portal? Like something like that, or Chip and Dale show up through the gummy ship, and that's how they meet them. I don't know. I think it'd be cool. There's many different ways they could go about doing that.
I mean, I think it would work no matter which way they chose, like whether to make an original story or keep the original or keep Kingdom Hearts 1 story. I think they could make a good movie out of it.
Gotcha. All right. Well, Kingdom of Hearts could work, maybe. Do you have another one, Bobby, that you have as a pick?
Zelda was another pick, but we've already talked about it enough. I think it's hard to make, but it'd be awesome for it to translate well. And I had a third one. I just can't remember what the heck it was. Do you remember?
I don't. I would have to go back on the Discord. I was like, Bobby will remember, and apparently not.
Yeah.
I can't remember. I'm thumbing through it real quick. But the Zelda thing, I think, would be awesome. It's just that, again, so tough to translate, and you probably risk so much by trying to translate that well. Although I would love to see a Pokemon movie that done correctly.
Nice.
I don't think live action is what we need. I think it would look really cheesy. I think what we need is an advanced CGI version, kind of like how we see the CGI in Ready Player One, or even the TMNT CGI movie that they had a few years ago. The really rich CGI, or even kind of like the Pixar direction a little bit, but not too cartoony. And I think it would just look really cool. Tie in some adventures, follow a character, whoever that may be. And then there's your whole Pokemon universe of movies. Like, you could just go on forever. There's an MCU Pokemon universe.
Yeah, I mean, they could just keep making them.
That animated,
movies are doing right now.
The animated special that they did that was strictly based on the video game that we all saw, and we're like, why couldn't we get a whole anime of just this? That alone could be. And it is cheating because it wouldn't be live action, and just do a straight up 2D anime movie of let's go through the 8 gyms and Red becoming a champion.
That would have been a really great movie. Or series or whatever they wanted to do with it. Like, each gym could basically be a movie. like him getting to the gym, and then that being the climax of the movie.
Oh, I got
you. Part 1, part 2.
Yeah.
What about you, Scott? Let's flip it on over to you. Do you have some video games that you think would make for good movies?
So the first one, I think, would be Metal Gear Solid.
I
would absolutely love to see a Metal Gear Solid movie.
Although one could make the argument that is cinematic enough, just like we did with Arkham Asylum.
Yeah. And that is the downside of it. But I just really would like to see it as live action. Just something inside me just really wants to see someone do it well and just take Kojima's vision to the big screen.
And there's also nothing wrong with adapting what is already cinematic. Why not? Okay, so it's already done for you.
It's just a matter of how much you can fit in trying to pick out the important plot points while skipping some of the other stuff. And I don't think it would ever beat the game as far as being better than the game or anything. But I think it would be a nice accompaniment to the game.
Yeah, it's not a bad pick at all. I think that it's probably simple enough to where, as you said, you can adapt the the cinematic portions of it, the cuts scenes, and have some espionage, crazy action in it too. What's your next pick, or do you have another one as a video game?
So the second one I was thinking of was BioShock, the original BioShock. I think that would be a great movie because the biggest thing in that was the atmosphere. Like just adapting that and having like a movie where there's basically no background music other than maybe a broken radio or something like that playing and just ambiance, I think would build a certain tension level, and I think it would be just really fun to watch a horror movie of that.
And I got the perfect creator for that one, Guillermo del Toro.
Yeah,
of course.
Because it's literally Daniel, have you ever played BioShock?
I played the second one.
Okay, because it's literally like Shape of Water. That scenery, that feel of that movie is BioShock.
God, I need to go watch Shape of Water then. Like,
it's like a sexier BioShock.
BioShock is one of those games that just, I love the atmosphere of it. The story's fun, it's enjoyable, but the atmosphere of it is just so great.
Your idea of a BioShock movie reminds me of, and I don't know how you guys feel about the movie, I actually do enjoy it, but the Silent Hill film that came out about 10 years ago, where it was heavy on atmosphere.
The first of the Silent Hill movies?
I don't remember there being more than... Oh, was there like a direct-to-DVD sequel?
Because I remember there being two. It was like Silent Hill and then Silent Hill something else with subtitle.
Well, I'm thinking of the one...
I watched the first one.
Yeah, that's the one I'm thinking of, where at the end, like, the witch gets split in half or whatever.
Yeah, I watched that one.
What'd you think?
I thought that was really good as far as catching the ambiance of the world of Silent Hill.
Did you see it, Bobby?
I don't think it caught all the symbology, though.
I did see it. It's actually very well done. It's very underappreciated and not touted as it should be. I think it got it got shut down maybe because it didn't get marketed well, because obviously the franchise only catered to the gamers. Again, which we were talking about earlier. How do you market that to non-gamers? So I maybe they didn't explore it well with the thriller aspect, but it's very underappreciated. It's a very well done movie.
And your third pick, Scott, for a video game movie?
My third would be Uncharted.
Oh, The
I
Rock.
think that would be a fun Indiana Jones
Yes.
style. Yes, with The Rock playing Nathan Drake. Or I could honestly also see Ryan Reynolds, Nathan Drake.
Oh, heck yeah. Because he is a clown. Like, he is funny.
So, like, I could really see that, and I could see it working well. I mean, movies like Indiana Jones are super popular, even nowadays when you have Harrison Ford not really being able to be Indiana Jones anymore. It still makes money. It still is popular. There's still fans there wanting to see a movie like that.
Yeah, I think we haven't gotten that, like, fresh, like that is Indiana Jones, not necessarily something that fits into the franchise, but it's like that was that kind of movie. Very few movies have tried to kind of take that on, except for, you know, the sequels, and Uncharted would probably be it would feed the right people that are hungry for that kind of thing without the name Indiana Jones attached to it.
Yeah.
Right.
And Disney wouldn't own it.
No.
Yeah, that too. They'd be mad.
And there's already four of them plus a sequel, or plus like a spinoff with his daughter. So boom, like right there, you've got 5 movies.
Yeah, those aren't bad picks at all. That's really good. I only have one, and it would not work as a live. You know what? Yeah, Howard the Duck. Star Fox 64, as like a space battle type of fucking movie. Have Howard the Duck special effects in it, puppets. Do that, because, and the only reason I say it is the anime that led into the promotion of Star Fox Zero. I'm like, why can't this be a show? Why can't this be a movie? Why can't this be a series? And then I'm like, you know what? Star Fox was already inspired by Star Wars. So if you can already give us puppet animal Star Wars on the big screen, success. Do that.
It'd be interesting to see how it does effects for Star Fox.
I think it would work. It'd be great. Give us something other than Star Wars. Give us Star Fox.
I like that his name is Fox McCloud. It's like, yeah, Luke Skywalker. All right. He didn't even try to hide it.
No, not at all. But, you know, there's not a whole lot of space movies that just do like a Star Wars type movie. where it's just like, oh yeah, no, they're not really space battling or something like that. Most of the time when people are doing space movies now, it's a lot more serious. Like, movies like Gravity come into mind, stuff like that.
I remembered my third game.
What do you got?
Destiny.
I've not played Destiny. I know Scott probably has.
I don't know. I mean, I could see that, but to me, it would be a lot of the same with Halo.
Yeah, but remove yourself as the first person shooter. That's not relevant. What I would want to see is the story between the big three. Cade Six, Cade, Ikora, their lore, because we hear about their lore all the time, and we hear about in all the cutscenes, and the cutscenes are beautiful. Like, there's your movie right there. Use that. Doesn't even have to be live action. But
I would watch a Cade Six movie.
Cade Six alone, because of Nathan Fillion. Like, why not? It's hilarious. Yeah. Those three, including the fourth one, the PvP guy with the horn on his head. I forgot his name. You get them together, and you explore their story, because they always talk about. There's always jokes of, Ikora talking bad about Cade because Cade's joking about how they don't think of him highly because he's such a, he jokes around all the time, but he's highly important. He's skilled, and he does have solutions to things. Like, explore their lore and what became of the Traveler, and why we're here at this point, and why the world has come to hell. I think that story. It doesn't have to follow one of them. You can follow all three of them. And then it conglomerates into one giant, like, them coming together and fighting that battle that we hear about so much.
See, I think, though, that would be a better animated, or CG at least.
I'm fine with CG. Let's get it.
Yeah,
the cutscenes are great.
But I think it would do well, and I'd be interested to see it.
The voice actors that they have in it now are amazing.
I completely trust your guys' opinion on it. Again, I haven't played it. I've seen some of Purple Swordfish's Let's Play on it, and obviously it's just first-person stuff. I'm not really picking up the story from it because he's doing some of the different missions. But if you guys say Destiny could work in that portion of it, then by all means, if someone has the funds, go make any of these. Really, make any video game movie and keep trying, because obviously the trend is it's an uphill battle.
Yeah, I mean, look at the Tomb Raider movies. Like, most of them aren't really lauded as that good until this one.
Scott, did you see the newest one?
I have not yet. I saw the trailers. It looked pretty good, but I haven't actually watched this one yet.
It is good. I saw it this week. Sorry, it's really good. It follows the Rise of the Tomb Raider story. So if you played Rise of the Tomb Raider, or any Brokettes, if you played Rise of the Tomb Raider and you're worried about what this new movie is going to be because you saw the Angelina Jolie versions, this is very much action-packed, and it follows Lara's adventure down the rabbit hole, per se, of becoming a Tomb Raider. So it's really neat.
At the very end of the movie, and you can spoil it, does someone say, "You are now the Tomb Raider"? Credits. Did we get the title somewhere in there?
No. The title's splashed on the screen after the last visual.
Lame. So there you go. Those are our picks. I only had the one because there's very few video games that I think I would make a terrible producer, because something I would pick, like I just picked Star Fox, would probably never work in a million years, but it's like, I would be happy. I'd be the one guy like, yay, that was good.
It'd be your passion project.
Zero box office. But that was pretty much the bulk of the podcast today. We did some comics, we did our Patreon shout outs, we did some movies, and obviously tons of video game talk. So I think we had the right people for it. Someone who does Let's Plays, and Bobby, who plays so way more than probably now I have in my entire lifetime. You can probably play in a whole year. You get into gaming pretty heavy, which is great. So I do want to thank both of you for coming in and providing an episode for the Brokettes while I am up in Chicago.
Of course.
Well, I was glad to be here. It's always fun.
Even though there are links in the description of today's episode, let's start with you, Scott. Where can people find you, whether it's Twitter, YouTube, or Facebook?
So we have @LazyGamingGuys on Twitter. You can follow us there. Whenever we start streaming, we will always post on there. So you can do that. We also do have our YouTube channel called Lazy Gaming Guys. Everything is up there. Past streams, if you've missed some of them, We've done a lot of different games like South Park and the Stick of Truth, Destiny 2, which we've talked about on here, and just recently things like God of War 3, another one we've talked about on here. So go ahead and check that out at Lazy Gaming Guys on YouTube. And we stream pretty regularly on Wednesdays and Thursdays, and occasionally Fridays.
Awesome, and you can also send Scott some recommendations for some comics, trades, because as we said earlier, he is getting it back into the world. What about you, Bobby? Where can the Brokehead Core find you?
I can be found on Twitter at Cuban Slim. That's at Q, B as in boy, ANSLIM. And, hit me up. You want to talk about comics, video games, board gaming, any trading card games like Magic the Gathering, Yu-Gi-Oh!, Destiny, of course, Pokemon. Leading to the next part, if you want to talk Pokemon, this goes out to the real Citek. I hope I'm saying that correctly. Broquette.
I found out it's Citek.
Oh, Citek. Okay. I know he's a Pokemon player. We've talked Pokemon in the Broquette Lounge there on Discord. Yeah, hit me up. I'm big into Pokemon, just like Daniel. I'm a TO, tournament organizer. I'm a judge. I've actually been traveling to a lot of the regionals recently and judging some fairly large events. So I'm well in the know with Pokemon. If you want some deck tips or some current events as to what's going on in the larger events on the competitive scene, or if you're just getting into it and you want some questions about how do I build a deck, what do I play with, what's standard legal, what is expanded versus standard, things like that. Heck, if you want to even know what your cards are worth, I can help you with that too, with the industry that I work in. So hit me up. I'm not too vocal about Pokemon on Twitter, but I have the knowledge. So I'm there. I don't use Facebook, sorry. Used to. Got rid of it.
Yeah, most people are leaving Facebook anyway. Twitter, Discord, Instagram, those are the places where it's at. And once again, there will be links to both Bobby and Scott's many Twitter and YouTube, of course, and they'll be on today's episode. So once again, thank you both so much for joining us and for filling in for the Emperor Kelli. And we hope the Brokehead Core out there enjoyed today's episode. Make sure to follow them and give them a thank you for being on today's show. And signing off for today, I'm Daniel.
I'm Bobby. Oh.
Take two. I'm Daniel.
I'm Scott.
And I'm Bobby.
And Brokehead Core, all will be well. We'll see you next week.